States and everyone in the room. I think for me, again, this is just a right time for us to have the conversations on refugees, and especially new arrivals in Cox's Bazar. I lived myself personally in the camps in Bangladesh for 6 years, and I was there 2 times this year. I visited in February, and I was there just 2 weeks ago, where I attended the stakeholder dialogue the government of Bangladesh hosted in Cox's Bazar. As everybody has already mentioned, we did receive tens of thousands of people again were forced to flee from Myanmar to Bangladesh after the recent conflict between the Arakan army and the military. And I think, just to mention this, none of these people, unfortunately, arrived in Cox's Bazar with their full family or complete family. All of them, either 2 members survived from each family, or maybe 1 person survived from each family, or maybe none of them survived from some of the families as well. So they arrived injured. They arrived with needs for medical. They arrived with needs for shelter. They arrived with needs for clothing, for example, hygiene kits, for example. And the situations, when we did meet them in person, the situation compared to my arrival in 2017 in August, a week before the festival, I think their situation was worse than when I felt myself as a kid back in 2017. So again, just to mention the current situations in Cox's Bazar, first of all, their shelter is not covered or funded by any of the donors or organizations in refugee camps, especially for the new arrivals. They either share a tiny shelters of their existing families in the camps, or they find an empty spot to sleep, like masjid or mosques where people pray 5 times a day. And the only place they find to sleep is during the night, and during the day they have to be outside somewhere, including women and children. The funding, again, is the huge crisis and one of our top concerns when it comes to refugees in Bangladesh. We know it's going away. Everything is cutting down, especially in November and December this year. And that's one of our main concerns. When I was in Bangladesh in March, World Food Program was already preparing their announcement to cut down ration food for one individual per month to go down from $12 to $6, which is more than half, to survive on a bare minimum already. And that was my biggest concern, because we have seen 2 times of food cuts in the past. One time it went down from $12 to $8, and the other time it went down from $12 to $10. And we have seen hundreds of people, especially women and children, have taken risks on a tiny boats to travel all the way to neighboring countries, as my colleague Aziz already mentioned, to Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand, because